Show me your hands now! Area 51, I got a knife. Show me your hands! Taking the knife out.
Moments after a high-speed chase, police faced a murder suspect armed and desperate. What happened next shocked everyone. In the early hours of August 29, 2025, the Wisconsin Department of Justice issued an urgent statewide alert. It was marked law enforcement sensitive, a classification used only for the most serious crimes. The message originated from the Dane County Sheriff's Office. It described a stolen white 2007 Hyundai Santa Fe SUV with Wisconsin plates, believed to be connected to a homicide in the quiet township of Mezomany. Every law enforcement agency across the state received the same order: find that vehicle, stop it, and contact Dane County investigators immediately. No one knew who was behind the wheel, but everyone knew that whoever it was could be armed and dangerous. The man they were looking for was 23-year-old Andrew Lloyd Collamore. In the hours before the alert, Collamore had fled from a violent scene that left investigators stunned. The vehicle he was driving was not just stolen, it was the missing link in a murder investigation. And as the sun rose over Wisconsin that morning, Collamore was already miles away heading north, trying to outrun the consequences of his actions. But even the fastest escape can't outrun a statewide manhunt. Somewhere in Marinette, an officer spotted the white SUV, and what happened next would shock the entire county. Around 9 a.m., a Marinette Police Department officer identified the stolen vehicle driving through the city. The moment the officer tried to initiate a stop, Collamore accelerated. Tires screeched, sirens wailed. A high-speed pursuit had begun. The chase snaked through the city limits, with police coordinating over the radio, warning nearby towns that the suspect was heading north on U.S. Highway 41. Sheriff Randy Miller of the Marinette County Sheriff's Office quickly deployed a tire deflation device, a last attempt to end the pursuit safely. But Collamore, desperate and reckless, swerved at the last second, avoiding the device and continuing at high speed. Witnesses later described the vehicle as flying down the highway, weaving between lanes, completely out of control. Moments later, fate intervened. The SUV hit a patch of uneven ground, veered off the road and rolled over multiple times before coming to a violent stop in a ditch near exit 216, close to Schacht Road in the town of Peshtigo. The sound of twisted metal echoed as the vehicle landed upside down, dust and debris scattering across the northbound lanes. For a moment there was silence, then movement. The driver's door creaked open. Officers braced themselves for what would come next. The man who stepped out of that wreckage wasn't surrendering. What officers saw in his hand would change everything in an instant. Collamore emerged from the crashed SUV, visibly shaken but defiant. Officers Parker J. de Los Santos and Andrew D. Bonjean from the Marinette Police Department approached carefully, weapons drawn, commanding him to stop and show his hands. Sheriff Randy Miller stood close by, ready to assist, but Collamore ignored every order. Instead, he started walking away, calm, silent, eyes fixed on the officers. Then, in a sudden chilling motion, he turned to face them, revealing a sharp-edged weapon in his hand. His intentions were clear. He wasn't giving up. Officers shouted again, warning him to drop the weapon. Collamore didn't. Instead, he advanced toward them step by step, closer and closer. Sheriff Miller, attempting a non-lethal approach, fired his electronic control device, ECD, in an effort to stop him. The electric charge hit, but Collamore didn't fall. Whether from adrenaline, resistance, or sheer will, he continued moving forward. The officers had seconds to react. Fearing for their lives and for one another's safety, both Officer de Los Santos and Officer Bonjean discharged their firearms. The shots echoed across the highway. Collamore collapsed instantly. The chaos that had filled the air moments earlier faded into heavy silence. When the smoke cleared, one man lay lifeless, and a series of haunting questions began to emerge about what led to that deadly moment. As officers secured the scene, emergency medical teams rushed to provide aid. Collamore was treated on site and transported to a nearby hospital, but his injuries were fatal. He was pronounced dead shortly after arrival. No officers were hurt in the confrontation. The white Hyundai Santa Fe, now crushed and broken, sat in the ditch, a silent witness to the end of a violent journey that began in Mezomany. Within hours, investigators confirmed what many suspected. The deceased driver was indeed Andrew Lloyd Collamore, the prime suspect in the Mezomany homicide. The stolen vehicle and the murder investigation were finally connected, but at the cost of another life. In the following days, Wisconsin's Division of Criminal Investigation began a full review of the officer-involved shooting. While the outcome was tragic, the actions of the officers were consistent with self-defense laws. Faced with an armed advancing suspect, they had no other choice. Sheriff Miller's decision to use a non-lethal method first reflected standard training to de-escalate when possible. But sometimes, even with the right decisions, the outcome is still fatal. The chase and its aftermath left an entire community shaken. The tragedy on Highway 41 is more than a police story, it's a human one. It's a reminder that every decision made in moments of fear can alter countless lives forever. The officers involved will carry those moments with them for the rest of their lives, while families on both sides are left to cope with loss and questions that may never be answered. So the next time you see flashing lights and sirens, remember the unseen battles playing out behind them, split-second choices made under unbearable pressure. Justice is never simple, and peace sometimes comes at a price no one wants to pay. If this story moved you, share it to spread awareness of how fragile every moment can be. Subscribe to the channel for more true law enforcement stories, where real heroes face impossible choices, and where every chase tells a deeper story about life, courage, and consequence.